I think we can safely say these playoffs have made up for the awful season that occurred before it. What we have seen is the good kind of tension and drama, the one that happens on the football field. So many epic and action-packed games that help us all to renew our faith in the game. Before we get to the finalists, let's take a look at how everyone else did. You wait almost 18 years to make it back to postseason football, and you do that. That was some incredibly ugly football to witness. It's more depressing because the defense did a decent job. The Jags were eagerly trying to hand you chances to win, but exorbitant offensive ineptitude was the name of the game. In fact, the O coordinator lost his job as a result. For all of the feel-good stories and celebrating, this was a team that simply didn't belong here. Personally, I hope you can make it back sometime in the next 15 years. Wash out the misery of this loss. Chiefs, you're doing it. You're completely obliterating your competition in the first half and showing the world your might. 1 yard short, the Titans are on the wrong goddamn football field. Put it in neutral and roll on to an easy fix. God damn it, not again!
Warning, full read has been activated. I repeat, full read is in effect. Be on the lookout for all suspicious activity. Keep all leads locked in a secure location. Stay away from all windows, doors, and televisions. Execute those wearing red, obese men with mustaches, and those showing signs of choking on sight. Do not attempt to reason with or offer liquor to Chiefs fans. Their misery will overpower you. God help us all.
Well, how do I explain your situation? It was an outstanding game that I didn't want to see end. Both sides put up a spirited fight and showcased some of their best talents. Unfortunately, the football gods chose you to lose this affair. It's a pretty painful one as well. The pass defense failed to hold muster for most of the game. You snapped momentum back from New Orleans and stormed to a major comeback only to fall apart to penalties and sacks at the worst possible moment. But what really killed you was Graham Gano somehow missing a 25-yard chip shot, only the second miss of his season. If he makes that field goal, the Panthers don't have to go for 6 on the last drive. Gano kicks it in with ease and Carolina wins. It doesn't matter if he went 4 for 5. I fear he will be hunted down by Jerry Richardson's death squads as retribution. The offensive coordinator and QB coach have already been taken out by them. If there's any team that came in with more hype, only to flame out when the curtains opened, it would be the Rams. That highly potent offense vanished completely with an accompanying choir of drops and special teams gaffes. Todd Gurley couldn't get anything going, and LA was gridlocked like I-5 on the field. In other words, this team imitated Arsenal. It's fitting, considering that team is also Kroenke's baby. Speaking of Kroenke, he's gone on record complaining that the Los Angeles Coliseum isn't a true home field advantage. Stan, now is the time you cry foul. You knew what you were getting into when you moved here. You'll have plenty of chances to be redeemed, though. You'll be back. Just don't repeat the Arsenal imitation next time, yeah? Let's be clear. The win against Kansas City was the worst thing to happen to your team. Hear me out for a second. Your team's biggest issue is coaching. What that victory did was allow ownership to pretend that everything is fine. And all for the glorious reward of getting completely stomped by a real team in New England. Now Mike Mularkey is being extended, which will mean more misuse of talent and terrible play calling. Was it really worth it? Hold on a second.
So, you're saying you got fired? You're not joking, right?
You don't say. Forget everything that I just said. You guys did the right thing. This is the best your team has looked in a decade. Go get yourself some real coaches and fulfill your potential. All of the goddamn talk about how they were going to get back to New England. All of the flaunting about round 2 with the Patriots. They forgot that there's another game you have to play before that. It's against the team that embarrassed them in Week 5. Guess what happened? They were completely embarrassed at home. The defense was as efficient as wet cardboard. Leonard Fournette steamrolled all over them, and a Blake Bortles offense put up 38 points. Once again, arrogance and ego were the Steelers' downfall. They saw the main prize without putting in the actual work to get to it. They had been getting bailed out by high-end talent all year long, and it couldn't save them this time. The only good thing to come out of this is that I won't have to eat one of those terrible Pittsburghers. Here's to yet another wasted year of that offense. They would have gotten their asses kicked by New England again anyway. The Falcons are proving all their doubters wrong and have snuck into the postseason with a 10-6 record. They went right into Los Angeles and shut down a high-powered Rams offense. Momentum is on their side as they take on an incredibly weakened opponent. The Falcons are well on the road to revenge for last year. Only a brick wall could stop you. Its name is the Eagles. You do realize that wall has been eroding for years, right? 4 straight passes on the final drive. For the final play of the game, you run a rollout bootleg with the fullback as a wide receiver. Are we sure Steve Sarkisian is sober? Saints, I'm so proud of you guys. You've proven everyone wrong again. You've come back from a 17-point deficit on the road against one of the proudest legacies of failure this league has to offer. It's sure to be yet another painful defeat for this cursed franchise. Just stop them on this final drive and put the nail in the coffin.
Case on a deep drop, steps up in the pocket. He'll fire to the right side, caught by Diggs. Stay up! Oh my God! 30! No! 10! Touchdown! Are you kidding me? It's a Minneapolis miracle!
Or Marcus Williams pushes the hit stick way too early and costs them the game. Remember when Sean Payton mocked the skull chant? Remember all the shit you gave Atlanta for 28-3 last year? Karma's a total bitch, isn't she? The Jags chose to pull out all the stops to end the evil empire. In fact, they had suffocated them for 3 quarters and brought hope to 31 other fan bases. All of the shit-talking Jalen Ramsey did is coming to fruition. Unfortunately, your heart met a cold dagger of precision. Tom Brady once again brought the Patriots back to life with yet another come-from-behind victory. They firebombed Saxonville like it was 1944. You can still hang your heads high with an excellent season, but alas, any chance of you guys being the heroes we all needed is dead. Bitch about the officiating all you want, but do you know what would have helped? Not giving up a 3rd and 18. There was finally hope in Minneapolis. They had been on the other end of a last-second victory for once. They were rolling into Philadelphia with confidence and momentum. They had the prize of playing a Super Bowl in their home stadium waiting. You then realize these are the Vikings. They can have no nice things. The result of this affair was the Minneapolis Massacre. Minnesota was utterly dominated in all aspects of the game. After the first 5 minutes, the whole team chose to go into fetal position and never come out of it. This is why you don't trust the Vikings in situations like these, because they fall apart. This game is a worthy addition to their legacy of failure. Unfortunately for you, Chiefs and Steelers fans bought all of my liquor beforehand. You must rely on rubbing alcohol to drown your pain. With enough misery to rival North Korea, we have our final 2 fighters in this duel to the death, representing the AFC. The Patriots have made the Super Bowl. What an incredibly shocking turn of events. Let me put on my stunned face. Yay. Everyone and their mother could have predicted New England making the Super Bowl since the preseason. It was a bit rockier than the predictions of a perfect season that a lot of people were making, but they made it here regardless. Even with allegations of turmoil behind the scenes and executive meddling, the Patriots have once again done what they have for years. Do their job and win. To the rest of the NFL's chagrin, the evil empire has laid waste to everything in its path. At the top of the pile, who else is there but Tom Brady? Even if his personal Rasputin was banished from New England's offices, the man has seemingly done what Ponce de Leon couldn't: find the fountain of youth. Immortality has been all but a given as Brady continually torches defenses and secondaries throughout the land, showing neither mercy nor restraint. We are not watching a man, but we are watching an artist practice his craft. The ways he orchestrates comebacks and immaculate drives is a sight to behold. Regardless of what you think about the man and his legacy, the world will look back on him as one of the best to ever play the position. You can try to hold him down all you want, but Brady will pull out ridiculous bullshit magic to lead New England to victory. Atlanta learned this the hard way last year. The rest of the league is envious. In terms of skill players, there are some differences this year from last. LeGarrette Blount is gone, but has been replaced adequately by Rex Burkhead. Julian Edelman is out for the year, but his absence is covered by a youthful Brandon Cooks, whom hasn't been the game-changer New England expected, but is still a deadly weapon in their arsenal. The real juggernaut is Rob Gronkowski. The great Hulk of the Patriots was injured last season, but has returned with a vengeance. The man is a generational talent and is near uncoverable. You can only try to hold him, but he will still break free. Once he gets space in the middle of the field, say goodbye to any hope you may have had. The defense is noticeably weaker this season, especially without Dante Hightower anchoring the linebacker core, but this group has managed to hold steadfast and stuff all those when needed. Newly minted players like Stephon Gilmore, David Harris, and James Harrison add to the list of vaunted New England players that will choose to make life a living hell for all those that stand in their way. That's not to dismiss guys like Malcolm Butler, Trey Flowers, and Devin McCourty, old stalwarts from last year's squad. The Patriots are simply put a machine. They have a few key pieces pieces, but a lot of the smaller cogs are very interchangeable. They have had many faces in their lineup over the past 15 years, but they keep finding ways to win. It is so easy to hate them, but you have to respect them in a way. Keeping at the top for so long is very impressive, especially in a cap league. For how much longer it keeps up, who knows? Regardless, the salt that they allow us to enjoy from the rest of the league's fandom is a joy to laugh at. Whom will the Patriots be facing from the NFC this year? Philadelphia. You made it. You didn't suffer another brutal NFC Championship defeat at home this year, even after being left for dead on the side of the road after Carson Wentz was sacrificed to the merciless football gods. You have overcome all odds this postseason, being an underdog at home for both playoff games, one coming against the 6th seed. Perhaps we can call this divine intervention. None of us were worthy of Carson Wentz and his majesty, but his holiness stays steadfast with the Eagles during these troubling times. At quarterback now we have Nick Foles. He was a man whom had an outstanding 2013 for the club, a man whom was once considered to be the future face of the franchise. It really did not work out. He never returned to that elite form and was traded to the Rams for Sam Bradford. Once reaching St. Louis, he fell to the doldrums. Foles bounced around for a few years before returning to Philly as the backup to their Lord and Savior. But like a lot of things, strange circumstances happened and he was thrust back into action. He did not inspire confidence with his play. He was written off as a guy who would fall apart in the postseason. He did not. In fact, against the Vikings, he showed glimpses of that elite 2013 form and brought this team back to the light. It also helps that the Eagles have a potent running attack to help him out. Acquired from the Dolphins during the season, Jay Ajayi has refilled part of his mana and given this offense another dynamic that they had sorely been missing. Corey Clement has suited well as a two-way threat that keeps defenses on their toes. The key weapon, though, is former Patriot LeGarrette Blount, a human wrecking ball that shows no mercy to defensive fronts. On the receiving end, they have an emerging Nelson Aguilar, a man whom was thrown the ire of the fanbase for underachieving last season, but has proved them wrong repeatedly this year. They have other weapons, too. Alshon Jeffrey is streaky, but can be another deadly blade that strikes secondaries everywhere. Zach Ertz has been dependable as both a safety valve and a formidable offensive threat. He has been the greatest ally to this offense, and he is crucial to their success. Their defense has returned to being a brick wall, stopping everything in their path this year. They have shut down strong offenses in the Falcons and Vikings in the face of adversity. Leading the charge is a dominating line led by Brendan Graham, Fletcher Cox, and rookie Derek Barnett. They will strike fear and make it into a long day for any offensive line. On the second level, they have players like Michael Kendricks and Nigel Bradham, and the secondary is a game of pick your poison. Do you hope to burn a man like Patrick Robinson, or get shut down by Malcolm Jenkins? This team is Rocky Balboa, a Philadelphia icon, an underdog in every sense of the word. A team whom was dismissed and cast off, but has overcome all odds to make it to the big time. Rally cries and horse heads will be donned. Will we see Philadelphia joyously rioting in the streets, or Philadelphia angrily rioting in the streets? Will this finally be the year that their legacy of failure is cast off, or will they be victimized by the Patriots like they were in Super Bowl 39? Will we see a new cancerous fanbase be at the top, or will we deal with the same arrogance we have felt for years? Whomever wins, we all lose. Whom will it be? I'm not buying the odds makers on this one. I feel like this is going to be a very tight contest, especially if the Eagles D plays as well as it has over the past few weeks. Nick Foles is going to have the game on his shoulders. If he can perform like he did against Minnesota, Philly will have a much easier time. You cannot deny the power of Brady and Belichick, though. For some odd reason, I have an inkling that he is going to will them to a victory. We can't have anything unpredictable happen, and the Patriots will win their 6th ring, firing their Death Star and obliterating Philadelphia once again. Have a nice day.